Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our session. How are you doing so far? Did you enjoy the keynote?
It was very cool, actually.
Okay. So let's introduce ourselves. My name is Horina. I am the engineering lead for the NAV client team. And I'm here with these two gentlemen.
So my name is Andrea. I was here last year, so you remember. I also work in the Dynamics NAV client team, and I'm a software developer.
Okay, and my name is Eigo Kawatani. I also work in the NAV client team. I'm a developer as well.
Okay. So we are very privileged to be here today and share with you, dear NAV developer, all the cool things we have been building in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2017 and Dynamics 365 for financials. So it has been a very busy year for us at Microsoft, and what you will see throughout the sessions today and tomorrow is that NAV is truly everywhere. It is not only on desktop and all major mobile platforms, but also deeply integrated into Office. So with that, let's take a look at our session objectives. So the message we would like to convey today with this session is that with NAV you have all the building blocks that are needed for building new modern experiences everywhere. And today we will walk you through the list of the client enhancements available in this release, and you will see that some of them just simply light up by upgrading to Microsoft Dynamics 2017. Whilst others, they will just need a little bit of your developer's touch to enable new experiences for your customers. So let's get started. So the first thing on our agenda is to show you the building blocks available in the toolbox for building these new modern experiences. The next thing will show you what's new in our mobile apps. After that, we will talk about simplicity and productivity in NAV. And at the end, we will do something we normally try to not to do, but this time we will change it a little bit. So we'll actually share some thoughts with you about how we see Microsoft Dynamics NAV clients evolving in the upcoming releases.
Well, pretty busy agenda, right?
Yes.
Where do we start from?
We start with all new experiences. So what are the ingredients that you need for enabling new experiences in NAV? The first one is the bricks. And you can say the bricks is actually a concept that is not new to NAV. It has been introduced in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2016 phone client in order to optimize the available space and the readability of the data. But what is interesting about bricks is that they're not only just an alternative way to render the old classic rows in the lists, they actually flow naturally and beautifully into the UI and give you at a glance all the information you need for performing a business process or making a business decision. And that is why we decided it was quite important to actually enhance the lists in tablet and desktop with bricks. The next thing is media. So what is media all about? Media is all about bringing color and modern experiences into NAV. So what I said previously was that bricks were like a compact representation of a record. But what better way to actually represent a record than a picture, right? So imagine you want to order an item, and instead of reading all these description fields, or you can, or you see a picture and say, this is what I want. This is what I want to order. And that is why we have introduced these two new media types, the media set, that actually Eigo is going to tell you all about it. And of course, you can say the pictures were available previously as the blob fields, and why didn't we stay with that? That is because they don't scale enough for our ambitions to deliver modern experiences in the HTML clients. And the next building block, that is Wizard. So as we build more and more repeatable solutions in the cloud, it becomes quite important that the end users are able to perform their daily tasks without a lot of friction and without a lot of cost to us as solution implementers. And this is where wizards actually come into play. They are a great concept for for guiding users to set up and configuration tasks, or for guiding users through complex tasks, or basically building welcome and introduction tours for the novice users, right? And behind wizards is actually a concept that is not new to NAV, that is navigate page. And what we have done in this release is not only that we have extended the support to all platforms, but we have also brought the user experience to a whole new level, and you'll see a bit later. And then the last thing that we're going to touch from the all modern experiences, that is contextual notification. So what is a notification? A notification is a message that appears at the top of the page. And it is meant to guide the user to perform a certain action. And you will see that the user can directly interact into the message bar, invoking actions. And if you think about the wizards, for example, then we can see that contextual notifications together with wizard are actually a very powerful combo for building welcome and introduction experience for novice users. And these are kind of the main concepts that we have in our modern experiences. And we will show you a demo right now on how we have combined this on the desktop client.
I guess you're ready.
All right. So we have here the Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2017 web client. And whilst we're preparing for this session, we're wondering what would be the best way to show you how to combine these tools available in our toolbox. And we decided maybe the best way is to actually build a mini welcome tour for registering NAV TechDays attendees. So let's see it in action. So in a welcome tour, it is very often that you would like to start with a video, either because you want to distract the user from all the configuration and setup tasks, or because you simply want to introduce your product to the user, give them an overview of what is it that you have as functionality in the product. And that is why we have decided to basically embed also videos in the wizard. And Eigo is going to present a lot about it. And of course, it was very much discussed which video should we put in this welcome tour. We spent a lot of time. But because all three of us are very big fans of Surface Studio, we decided to show you this introduction.
So I'm expecting next year to have some of these cool devices on our desks,
yeah, we
right?
always need devices to test. That is correct. And see NAV on all devices, right? So let's see what's next on our welcome tour. So another common pattern in the welcome tours is basically show a cover image to the user, associate the information that is provided to the user with a cover image. And actually, in this release, we have also introduced this cover image concept in Wizards, and you will see a bit later how this is done. And now, it is time to register someone to the NAV Tech Days. So
I'll
register
go for it.
Andrea.
Yeah. So, let's type in my name. Well, who remembers where I'm from?
Oh,
Yeah.
good. You can get a T-shirt.
Where are you? Thank you. Perfect.
But Andrea has been so long time in Denmark that actually she's considering me to be a Viking. So
Yeah, it's also written on my badge, so yes, I'll put Denmark.
okay.
And well, we need a T-shirt size.
Why do we need the T-shirt size
why?
in our welcome tour?
Well, because we are going to give T-shirts, we are going to ask questions to you, and well, if you answer correctly, you'll get a T-shirt. So we need to know your size.
Mm.
And in my case, I'm a
Is
medium.
small or medium? Medium. Okay.
Well,
And then, what is your favorite session, or the session you want to attend?
well, I'm already attending the best session.
Which is our session,
yes,
right?
of course.
Great, great.
So we can move on. Yep. Then finishing with my address. And of course, we all love NAV TechDays.
Okay.
Looks
So
like
that's
I'm done.
Andrea is registered to the NAV TechDays. And now we can continue showing him all the cool features we have built in NAV 2017. So once we press continue, the welcome tour navigates us to the customer list. And what we see there at the first site is basically how did we combine the media and bricks together in showing images in lists. So if you have, for example, a field in your table that is a media and that is part of the brick property group, then we render images in the lists. And of course, this brick view concept, switching between brick views is a concept that is familiar in all multimedia apps in Windows, in SharePoint, and just we have implemented a similar experience in NAV. So you can actually switch between these modes. You can also go back to the classic rows view.
Maybe not.
Yeah, it's a bit boring, right? No color. And also, if the list has media with thumbnailing, then we also introduce a third mode, which we call tall bricks. So NAV also remembers the view mode that the user has chosen last. So basically, if you choose one of these modes, then next time you open the customer list, you will get precisely that mode. And also, the NAV is able to intelligently determine the view that the list should open. So if you have defined the media field, but there is no images uploaded into the database, we actually start in the classic mode. Also, the other thing to notice is how fast and fluid the scrolling is, and that is because we don't load all these pictures at once, we load them on demand, and the browser also has mechanism for loading the pictures asynchronously, which helps us to provide this fast and fluid experience. So now you can also do search, in the bricks. Meaning, you can type the a name or a keyword, and you find the specific customers. Unfortunately, we don't support yet sorting and filtering in brick view modes, but if you go to the classic mode and you do sorting and filtering and you come back to the bricks, you will respect these options. There is also not yet a developer API for actually specifying directly in the ACL which brick mode you would like the list to open. So now let's drill down into the one of the customers. And here you can see, that the pictures, the media fields can also be embedded in fact boxes. And for here we actually have defined actions for importing and exporting the picture. And Eigo is going to show you how that was done. So this is how we actually build this experience by combining the media and bricks together. But besides this big major improvements, we have also done a bunch of smaller improvements. So for example, if you take a look at the ribbon, I don't know if you noticed, but it opened, expanded. And the reason for this is that if you have a promoted action, the ribbon will now automatically open, expanded. This is an improvement we have done based on a lot of feedback we have received. So I hope you find it useful. Then also, in order to reduce the clutter in the ribbon, we have also collapsed the view and edit action into one single toggle button. So this is how, and Andrea likes to play with this a lot.
Yeah, maybe I should stop doing that.
Yes, you should stop doing that. Another area of improvement, a small improvement we have done is actually related to shortcuts. So we have added escape as a shortcut for closing the list, the pages in general, right? So, and coming back to the role center, another shortcut behavior we have changed, that is F5. So F5 before was the browser F5, and if you are pressing that, then the whole page will be rebuilding. But what we have done in this release is that we have connected F5 with the actual data loading. So when you press F5, the page is still built, but we're just reloading the data. And we're doing that for each of the parts, and that is including the parts with the extensibility controls. And what we have done in order to enable that, we have extended our adding framework with a new event, a refresh event. So when you press F5, basically this event will be raised in your add-ins, and you can implement your code for loading data. And we strongly actually suggest to you that if you have existing add-ins, to actually update this event. And that is a kind of a small summary of what we have available right now on the desktop. And now Eigo is going to show you how a wizard media is all working together.
Okay, thanks, Horina. I hope you're all excited for the features we just saw. So I'm going to start with the wizard, because this is probably my favorite page type we have in NAV. As Horina just explained, wizard is actually not a new concept. It uses the existing page type, the navigate page. This has existed in the Windows client for quite some time, but we received a lot of feedback from you to add support for this in the HTML clients. So in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2017, we are finally adding this for you. And you can already start using this in HTML clients. And the upgrade should be a trivial process, and there are no actions required to start using this. And that means you can reuse the existing pages, and they are enabled in all the clients. So that means even the touch clients like tablet and phone. And there are also many examples in the product where you can take a look if you're wondering how we built some of these cool wizards. So, but we didn't just stop there. We added a new feature for specifically for the HTML clients, and we call this the cover image. What this means is that you can use a media field or control add-in to embed some visuals or videos into a step. So in Horina's demo, we had a YouTube video embedded in a step in the wizard. And that was done using a new add-in we have introduced in 2017. We have the web page viewer control add-in. We have a session for that tomorrow. We used that to host a YouTube video. And the second page of the wizard, we had a media field showing the logo of the Tech Days. But there are several things to remember if you're using this media field, the cover image. The image will get the gray background. I don't think it was that clear on the screen here, but you do get the gray background, and the image will be left aligned. And if you are using it, you don't have to, it's an optional, but you get one per page. All right, so let's get into the more details about how to construct these pages. So here you see at the top, it's a very typical wizard with 2 steps. And to define a step, we use the top-level groups. Like you see here, there are 2 groups at the top level directly under the container. But that's not the only thing. You also need to set the visible property of these groups to be dynamic. So that means you need to assign a variable. So in this case, we have a variable called current step, which is set to these properties, and you'll be incrementing or decrementing this, or maybe setting to true or false to control which step gets shown. So that's pretty simple. And we'll also put the picture of the wizard we saw in the demo just now. And maybe I can go through how this page was constructed. And at the top, we have the check icon. And this is using the cover image feature I just described. And to get that effect, you need to define a media or control add-in field as the very first item inside the group, which represents a step. So at the top, you see there's a field, and it has a source expression variable bound to some field in the table. And that's actually a media field. I get into how to actually start using this or more about what the media field is about. But here, just remember that you have the media field at the very first group. You can swap this with a control add-in, and that's how you create a cover image. And there's another tip very good to remember. There's a group underneath, if you look at it. Using these subgroups a great way to organize or create sections or paragraphs with emphasized title. So for example, in the picture below, you see the text says, "That's it." And that's actually done using a subgroup and using a caption property set to "That's it." And the text below comes from the instructional text property of that subgroup. And we use this in several wizards we have built, and it's a great way to organize text, so you can probably start using it. And next, once you have the steps, the next important thing you need to do is to define actions so that the user can navigate between steps, right? So I can explain how this works. It's pretty simple. So at the bottom right corner, we have the 3 buttons. This is just a screenshot of what we saw in Horina's demo. We have the back, next, and continue. So there are two properties that are important to remember. One is the info bar property. So if you set that to yes, the action will show up at the bottom of the wizard. And if you don't do that, they will not appear, because if you noticed, wizard does not have a ribbon, and that's because we wanted to promote simplicity inside the wizard, because it's meant for guiding users through some complex tasks. We don't want to use that for like presenting a data, for example. So we removed the actions from ribbon and hope that you don't, I guess you can if you want to, but maybe do not put too many actions so the user can focus on what's important. So that's one thing, info bar property. And the next one is the image property. So we support using 3 different images here to define which button is treated as the back, next, or finish. So if you use the image set to previous record, and that would be rendered as the back button, and next record for the next button, and finish or continue button is done using the approve image. So on the desktop client, you just get these 3 text boxes, and some of them get highlighted depending on which buttons are enabled. But on phone clients and also on tablet clients, we render icons instead. So if you want that kind of effect, make sure to set the image property. So that's all we have for actions. I think it's pretty simple, and I hope you're all familiar with the Navigate page already. So please start using it in NAV. I think it's really cool. So next, I want to go through the media fields. This is a new field we added in 2017. This is pretty much about the image field. So we have the image field. Maybe I want to ask you some questions. So does anybody know how we store the image field currently in NAV? No, like image field, not the media.
Before the media.
Yes, I don't know who said it first,
Many of them got it.
choose one.
Oh, no.
But I think there's someone
somebody
over
there.
Someone over there, Andrea.
Who was it?
There was someone over here, I heard. Andrea?
What?
Someone over here.
Oh.
Yes, but yeah, that's right. We use the blob field to store binary data directly into the HTML SQL table. But we noticed that that's not what we really wanted to achieve the level that we wanted to get, especially for the SaaS environment. So we wanted to scale it well to the level that's really is fast and fluid. For example, if you are using a mobile phone with a slow internet, it was very important for us that the experience is smooth. If you were scrolling through a list of bricks with the images, it was important that you don't have to load the images and to wait. And so, yeah, we spent some time thinking about how to solve this, and that's why we have this media field introduced. And what this does is that when you store an image, the image gets stored in a system table, and we reference them using ID. So we don't really interact with the blob data directly. So that's what actually the media field is about. But there are also some more advantages that it gives you over the good old image field. So probably the biggest one we have is the thumbnailing. So what this means is when you store a media field, we generate thumbnails of the image of different sizes. And we figure out which size is the best to use, depending on what device you're using or what component you are using. For example, it doesn't really make sense to download a big image if you're using a phone client, because all you want is just a smaller image, right? So that's what the thumbnailing is used for. It also happens in desktop client. If you're using brick field in the desktop client or the Fatbox, we figure out the best images to use there. And next, we have the caching. So caching is something we do in the HTML clients. So we cache the image on the IIS server once the user accesses it. So the second time, we can eliminate or reduce the round trip to NST server. So that's another neat thing we did. And we have the on-demand loading. So I think Horina touched this a little bit, but when images are loaded, we do it asynchronously, so we don't have to block the user. And so it helps us to give us very smooth scrolling experience. And of course, we support all the common image formats like JPEG and GIF. So you can start using that. And next, it says that the client only shows the first picture. So let me just explain what this means. So we have the media field, and we actually have another one called media set. And this is used if you want to store several images into one field. For example, if you want to store images of an item, from different angles. For example, if you go to Amazon, you have images of the product for different images, right? So media sets can allow you to do that. But we currently have a limitation that the NAV shows only the first picture, meaning you can't choose which one you want to show. But we'll be working on this. But it's great. Maybe you should remember that you can show this in the reports. If you have media field inside a list, for example, the image will show up in the report. But yeah, so this is still a work in progress. We show this in corporates and the wizard when used as the cover image, but we do not show that in other places. For example, if you want to use this in the card page, they will not show up. Okay, so let's get into more details to how to actually use media. So the primary example of using media will probably be bricks. So we have a picture of brick over here right now. And I'm pretty sure you are familiar with the bricks or played around with the bricks at least once. It's pretty easy to define that. But first, if you want to use the media in brick, go to the table and define a field whose type is media. So we have a field called portrait and it has the media. And you might be wondering why we have the extended data type set to person. So this is something new we added. So if you set that to person, what we do is you get a circular image like you see here. And in the item list, we have a square image, but if you set to person, that's the default one. But if you go to the person, we have the circular image. So once you have this, all you need to do is go to define a field group and set the name of the group to be bricks. And you have to add the media field as one of these fields you want to show, and it will show up as like this. And there's one last thing I want to go through for the media. It says that you must code your own CRUD if using HTML clients. So this means we do not yet, NAV doesn't support, give you a way to natively update or create, update, export, delete media fields yet, but we'll be working on that. So what this means is if you want to let users import or export or delete pictures, you have to code this using CAL right now. And I put the snippet of code how you can import a file. So it uses the file management code unit to upload a file, and you can import a file into a field and stuff like that. So in this, in the Horina's demo we had a customer card, and we had a picture in the fact box. And there were some actions in there that says import and export, like you see here. So these are all done using the CL code. Yeah. So that's all I have for the bricks right now. Sorry, the media. I think we're going to just switch to Andrea.
Yes.
If I'm correct.
So the next stop in our agenda is what is new in our mobile apps. And you will also get a chance to see there the media and bricks in action. So let's switch to our phone app. So I have here the Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2017 phone client. And the first thing we see is that the navigation bar has moved at the bottom of the screen. We have done this change in order to make it more accessible for the users while holding the phone in their hands. And also on the navigation bar, we have added the swipe, so you basically can swipe between parts just swiping on the bar. And let's stop while swiping through the parts. Let's stop on the item list. So here you see yet again the media and bricks together in action, and also you have a chance to see how scrolling actually works on the device, the same fast and fluid experience. We have also, for the list parts available on the homepage, we have also promoted two important actions, meaning the new action and the search. So you can you can interact with the list much faster, quicker. And but all of these are sort of tiny bit improvements. But the biggest thing is actually that we have introduced gestures in our mobile apps. So let's assume that I am in a warehouse and I'm doing stock keeping every month. And I'm sitting between a lot of boxes, and I have the phone in my hand with the NAV phone client. And what I want to do is I want to go through these items, and I just want to adjust the inventory amount on these items. And I know, for example, that the Amsterdam lamp, that I have returned one of them, so I don't have 268 items. So I would like to adjust the amount. So all I need to do is swipe from the right and take a peek at the existing actions. So here you can find the actions that are connected with the swipe gesture. So in my case, I would like to subtract. So let's just swipe all the way to the end. And then notice that the quantity gets updated. And the same thing with others, like, for example, the Tokyo lamps. That is Andrea's favorite, the Tokyo chair, sorry. That is Andrea's favorite chair. So
yes.
he said he would like to have one more, so I'm going to order one more. So I will just adjust the inventory amount by swiping from the left. So here we see the add action, right? And this is how the inventory amount gets updated. So I can continue all day and updating these items in my item list. But once I'm done, then I would like to create a sales quote for my customers. And let's assume that I would like to create a quote for the progressive home furnished. So if I tap and hold on that particular record, the context menu appears, and I could just, with the tip of my finger, invoke the new code action. And the information gets pre-populated, the information about the customer gets pre-populated, so now all I need to do is basically add a line, right? So let's add a line. Let's assume I'm still in love with the Amsterdam lamps. And I want quantity 1, and I have my line created. But now I'm thinking, okay, maybe not I think I would like to have 2 lamps, right? I would like to create a sales code for 2 lamps. So then all I need to do is just swipe on that record and increase the quantity. So that is the gestures are available basically on parts in the role center, also on the subforms and on lists. And you can just go creative and create all sorts of crazy apps, like, I don't know, Tinder apps or whatever, right?
Yeah.
All right, so now I will give it to Eigo to talk about gestures.
Yes, so I'll start with the swipe action. So I'm sure you already saw this in the keynote and everything, but I'm just going to get you to more details. So you can define a record level swipe. So what this means is that the action you define will be bound to the specific role that user is interacting. Like we saw, we created a sales invoice for that user. So that's what swipe action can do. And this works in list parts and list pages, but they work on the phone client right now. And they are driven by the scope property and the gesture property. So I'll show you how you can actually do that and talk about how you do it. And another one is that you can have single or multiple actions. And you can have up to 3 actions per direction. So that means you can have up to 3 on the left side, and you can have another 3 on the right. But if you have more than 3, for example, then we just cut it and show 3 actions there. And the order of actions that we create is implicit, and it's actually what you see in the designer. And I'll show you what they mean. So, yeah. And next, I'm going to describe more about the tap and hold. So this is the little menu that appears if you tap and hold your finger in the row. And this also works in lists and list pages, list parts, sorry. And they work in tablet and phone. And these are driven by the scope property. So swipe action and tap and hold, they work very similarly. So tap and hold uses only the scope, but the swipe uses the extra one, the gesture. So I'll show you how this actually works in action. Let's see. Right, okay. So I've created a list already. You have I have a item list here. Yep. And if I go to actions, so here I have several actions that I could change it to a swipe action. So it's pretty easy, as you saw in the keynote already. You can, first thing you need to do is to set the scope property to repeater. So what this means is that this action would be bound to a row instead of the page. And once you did that, set the gesture property to left or right swipe. So if you do a left swipe, they will show up on the left side of the brick, and right otherwise if you do that. So you can do that on all the actions. But make sure to set the promoted property to yes, because it's a phone client. So here we have the left swipe first, and then left swipe 2 under the group. So you get the order of the action will be you get the left swipe as the rightmost action if you swipe from the left, and the swipe 2 will appear after the swipe, left swipe 1. And the same story goes for the right swipe 1 and right swipe 2. So that's how you do the swipe action. It's pretty simple. But if you want to do tap and hold, all you have to do is just to go to the same, okay, let's just use this as an example, but just do not specify the gesture property, and it will show up in the tap and hold actions. So let's say you have 5 swipe actions. Like as I said before, you get only 3 actions, but if you open the tap and hold, all the actions will appear there. So that's the one neat thing to remember. Okay. So should we switch gear to Andrea? I think he has something to show us about the mobile platforms.
Yes. Yeah. So far, you, Eigo, and Horina have shown us a lot of very cool new features in the product. And probably one of the questions you're asking yourself at the moment is it going to be available everywhere? Will my customers be able to get it? The answer is, as always, yes. Even though some of the features we've just shown, like, for example, gestures, the swipe action, or the tap and hold action, are only available for a specific display target, you will get that feature on all platforms, namely Windows, iOS, and Android. So NAV everywhere.
But how about the app stores and operating system that we support?
Yeah. Well, our app is available on all the stores, and we keep updating it as soon as new updates are pushed on these stores. For example, lately we've introduced support for iOS 10, and we have also introduced support in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2017 for the iPad Pro. So now Dynamics can also be run on the iPad Pro, and the experience is very nice. It's amazing, actually. I've tried it, and I love it. Well, I think that now it's time for me to switch topic and start talking about NAV and first-time users. In this release, we decided to put a lot of focus on first-time users and simplifying the user experience. Why is that? NAV is a pretty powerful tool, you probably know that. And it should be, from the very first time a user approaches NAV. So we've decided to put a lot of focus on all these users that are not really familiar with NAV concepts. We are talking about users that see the product for the first time. So we want them to be very productive. And in order to do so, we have worked on different features in the product in order to make the experience from the very first time amazing. And we have started working on improving some of our existing features. One of them is the tooltips. I'm not talking about something new. You can define tooltips. The developer can define tooltips on different fields via the tooltip ML property. And the tooltip will surface in the product. This is also pretty powerful because it's localizable. But we have restyled the tooltip, and we have changed the way it behaves so that it is more interactive. And we have also decided to join 2 experiences, the tooltip experience and the help experience. So you will see now in my next demo that both of them are actually connected together, so that the user is always provided with the necessary amount of help he needs for carrying on the business operations he needs to perform. So I guess we can switch to the demo. And here's a little story about me. When I started working in Dynamics NAV 3 years ago, I didn't know anything about ERP. Sales invoices, sales quotes, sales orders, something I've never really played with. So think about me 3 years ago, now approaching Dynamics NAV 2017. And I want to create a new sales invoice. That's my task. But remember, that's the first time I see Microsoft Dynamics NAV. And this is the first time for me to create a sales invoice. Where do I start from? I'm in the role center, and I can see in the ribbon there is an action for creating a new sales invoice. Probably I should go from there. And looks like that's the correct place. A new page opens, and it is the new sales invoice page. Fine. But yet, that's the first time for me to fill in a sales invoice. I don't know anything about it. but I see a red mark over there. And that red mark tells me probably to start from there. So a customer field is probably the first field I need to fill in. Why do I need to have a customer for a sales invoice? I can click on the customer caption, and the new tooltip shows up. So as you can see, the look and feel is different. The way you bring up the tooltip is different. It's no more on hover, now it's on click. So that you are not disrupted while actually scrolling on the page. But there is something more. There is a learn more action. If you click on that, if the user clicks on that, the user will be brought automatically on a new tab to the help page. And this is the contextual help page. So the user is working, and there is something he doesn't understand. He's immediately brought to the help contextual to that specific topic. So now that the two experiences are connected together, the overall experience feels much better. So now I can start from here, and I can pick up a customer. And, well, NAV is also very nice because it fills all the other fields for me. I want to point out another thing, very important. Tooltips are available on all page types. It means also on lists. When I want to bring up a tooltip on a list, I can go there by using the column header. So as soon as the user clicks on the header, a new action is available. What's this? And as soon as you click on that, the tooltip is shown up as before. So tooltips are available everywhere on all clients, actually. So not just the web client, it's the tablet client as well, and the phone client. The experience is different because there is on tap. But tooltips are everywhere. The user is really never left alone.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, actually very useful. Mm-hmm. So my next...
You'd like to talk us about what is behind the tooltips, right?
Yes. Actually, the whole story on tooltips is over. So we can move on notifications, I think.
Okay.
Which is the other very cool feature that we worked on in this release. We fight over a lot on the things that we like the most. So Eigo has his own favorites. I have my own favorite, which is notifications. So the best way to introduce notifications is probably by asking ourselves a question. And that is, how many ways does a developer have today for interacting with the user? If you think about it, there is one tool that we have today, and that's the dialogue. Two things about the dialogue, very important. First of all, dialogues are prominent. And when I say prominent, I really mean prominent. So they appear at the center of the screen. They hide the rest of the UI. And the user is basically distracted. And now his attention is caught up there on the dialogue. Second, the other very major characteristic is that dialogues are blocking. It means that whatever business process the user was carrying on, now he cannot continue anymore because it's blocked. The dialogue is dragging his attention on something else. From another angle, from another perspective, you can say that the tooltip is also, the dialogue is actually forcing the user to take a decision, to take action on something. All these three characteristics, do we really want them always when interacting with the user? The answer is no. There are some situations where a dialogue is good. We want to interrupt the user, it's a very critical operation to do. So the user should be blocked. But in other cases, and it turns out to be most of the cases, we just want to inform the user about something that happened. We don't really want to block him. We don't want to distract him. The user must be able to continue to go on his task if he decides to do so. So far it wasn't possible. But now, in the Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2017, it is, thanks to notifications. Notifications are a different paradigm for interacting with the user. They are not prominent. They appear in a very subtle way at the top of the page. Also, they do not block the user at all. When a notification is shown up, the user can still continue carrying on whatever operation he's doing without being blocked. And that's exactly what we want to have. So I guess enough talking, and I can start demoing that and showing that to you. So now that I can create sales invoice, I promise I'm going to create thousands of them. So let's create, again, a new sales invoice. And I'll just pick up my favorite customer. And this customer asked me a lot of chairs. So he wants 200 of them. So I fill in my sales invoice, and I put inside 200 of them. As soon as I do that, I leave the field, and a notification is showing up now. The point is that I don't care, because this is my second sales invoice. It's very important to me. I want to finish filling in the sales invoice. So I create my second line, because the sales invoice is not over yet. So I keep filling my lines, and when I'm done with it, then I can raise my head and see that there is a notification. And I can start acting on it. But I'm deciding to act on it now. So there was an action that gives me an option, and that's just a review of the item that I'm running out of, basically. And as soon as I'm done with that, I can close the page, and as soon as I do that, the action that was defined in the notification, the action, the CAL code inside there is done, and the notification is dismissed. And that's the other important characteristics of notifications. Whatever action you define on a notification, when invoked by the user, will automatically trigger a dismissal of the notification. Because once an action is invoked, the user has made a choice. So the notification is not going to be needed anymore. Well, pretty powerful, right?
Mm-hmm. It's a simple but powerful API.
Indeed. And I can actually show you how to do that. The whole experience for developing notifications is very simple. So let's close the objects that Eigo had. Yes, and well, notifications can be sent from every part of the code, really. But I would like to keep things simple here. So I will just send a notification when opening a page. So I'll get the customer card. I think that's a good page. And so when the page opens, where should I put the code? Sorry? Run record? Huh? Yes.
On open page, yes.
On open page.
Yes.
That's much better, right? Thank you.
That is true.
Yes. So let's go to the trigger. And let's bring up the code. Perfect. Well, you attended the keynote, right? So, and you saw a little bit of the code of the notification. I need a notification object as a first thing. And, well, I'll just call it my notification. Do you remember the name of the new type that we have? Notification. Yeah, it was simple. But yeah, you deserve a t-shirt. It was you, right? Thank you. So, our new type is here. I can go out of my locals, and I can start using the object. And as soon as I bring up my amazing experience for all the new features in our coding environment, I can see how the API basically looks like. But this is going to be a very simple notification. So let me just set a message. And, well, let me just greet myself. And after that, remember what I told you, we send notifications. And that's it. 2 lines of code, and I'm done. So back in the product, in the list, and I open the page, and my notification is there. And well, thank you for greeting me, and I'm done. So you could see that notifications are very simple to send, and the API looks very simple as well. But it can be much, much richer than that. There is a whole session devoted to the notification API, so I'm not going to go into details on that today. I will encourage you to attend tomorrow's session by our colleagues Klaus and Jesper. You will learn all about notifications there. But let me just give you a little sneak peek around the notification API by introducing you two features of the API which are very, very useful. And they are all about interacting with notifications already existing on the page. What's the main scenario here? The main scenario is that you send a notification. You're the developer, you send a notification. But remember, when you send a notification, you have no guarantee that that notification is going to be actioned immediately by the user. The user decides it. Now, it's up to the user. So theoretically, that notification might stay on the page for a really long time. So let's consider our user interacting with our solution, and we send a notification, but the user doesn't care about it. He keeps interacting with our solution, and now that the business process is at a certain state, the notification that we sent has expired. Namely, because of the new state of the application, the notification is not needed anymore. What do? Should we wait for the user to dismiss it? But the notification is not needed anymore. So from the code, we can use the recall API in order to remove that notification from the page, from the code. And the second feature is about updating existing notifications. And the scenario is slightly a little different. Namely, again, you send a notification, but the notification is not immediately actioned by the user. And as the user keeps interacting with your solution, the business process is carried on, and at a certain point, the state is such for which the notification you sent is no more valid, meaning that the information which are provided in the notifications are not good enough. So you need to update this notification. The notification has become outdated. You can use the update API in order to change the notification. You do not need to recall the notification and send a new one, though you can do that. But we discourage you from doing that, because there are two operations. You can just do the same with only one call, which is using the update API. So indeed, very powerful API, extremely useful. They can change the way you interact with the users. I encourage you to start changing from using dialogues to notifications where it is required. I really hope you're going to love them.
Mm-hmm. And the most important, that they are available across all platforms.
Oh yes, Windows client, the web client, tablet, and phone, everywhere.
Okay. So let's switch to the next item on our agenda. Yeah, so we have reached the productivity in Outlook. So if you remember in the beginning of the session, I mentioned that NAV is truly everywhere and deeply integrated into Office. And how have we done that? So we have taken the business process, we have automated them, and we have integrated them from NAV into Outlook, productivity tools like Outlook and Excel, providing immersive user experiences across all these product families, Office 365 and NAV. So now let's take a look at the Outlook add-in. Let's assume I am a business owner and I have Office 365 subscription. I am at my desk and I read my mails, and I can see in my inbox I have 200 emails, one from Andrea, one from Eigo. So this week I had a meeting with Andrea and I have presented him some Athens chairs and all the wonderful features that an Athens chair has, and he was really happy. And when I came back to my desk, Andrea sent me an email and said, "Wow, Horina, that was a great presentation. I would like you to send me a quote." for these Athens chairs. And here I am in my mail, and whilst I'm reading it, I see that I have Dynamics NAV tab available. And basically, the Dynamics NAV add-in is able to to recognize the context and give me customer information, and not only just what's the address and details about that particular customer, but also financial information, like what are the history of my transactions and so on. And now I would like to send a quote. So I go to the new context menu and choose new quote. Notice how the information is pre-filled already in the quote, as always, and now I just go and create a line. How many chairs did you want the quote for?
10, thank you.
10. Okay, let's put 10. And that's it. I have my quote. Now I would like to send an email to Andrea with this quote. So we have an action available, and we click on it, and what happens behind the scene is that NAV is generating a PDF version of the quote and is attaching this as a document in the draft mail, pre-filling also the information, and all I need to do right now is just press send. That's one of my first tasks in the day already done. So now I am looking at the second mail. So with Eigo, I had a meeting a long time ago. I have sent him a quote, and he replied back saying, okay, Horina, yes, I'm happy for that quote, but actually I would like to increase the quantity in the quote. And whilst I'm reading the mail, I can see that the Dynamics NAV add-in is able to recognize the sales quote keyword, and is giving me context about that particular quote. So what I do now, all I need to do is basically just go and change the quantity, and then send the email with the updated quote. And again, all the information is pre-filled, and NAV generates the PDF version of that quote. Let's press
And we can
send.
send it.
Let's press send, yes.
Yeah.
So these are the two of my tasks for today. But then, after I'm done reading my mails, I go to my calendar. And here I can see that for today I have a meeting again with Eigo, who works at Fairway Sound, right? And I'm thinking, okay, why don't I prepare a quote for him? I know he's interested in the Amsterdam lamps, and I'm saying, okay, maybe he can review it whilst we're at the meeting and say, yeah, that looks okay or not. So let's open the Dynamics NAV add-in. And notice in this calendar view, the space that the add-in has is fairly limited. So what I can do is actually I can pop out the add-in into the browser window. And here I can do all the operations I would do normally in a desktop in browser, right? So let's create a quote for Eigo. And I have again the information filled in for customer information, and all we need to do is just fill out the line. And how many chairs did you want, or lamps? How many lamps did you want?
Maybe I'll get 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now the sales quote is done. All I need to do right now is to actually press send an email, right? And this time the send email is actually inside NAV, right? So we have also generating again a preview version of the quote, and you can send this email to Eigo now, right? So this is how you can interact from Outlook directly into NAV. The whole idea is that you don't need to switch apps between Outlook and NAV to perform certain tasks, right? Then, of course, the next question probably in your mind is, okay, where do I get this add-in, and how do I deploy it? And the answer is very simple. You can deploy the Outlook add-in directly from NAV. So if we go back to the web client, and we search for the Office add-in management page, so there we have our two add-ins. So we have the document view. That is the add-in that when I was reading the email from Eigo, is able to recognize the sales quote and give me the particular information about that sales quote. And then the second one is the contact insights. That is the one that you open in the mail from Andrea, where you can see the information about the customer and you can interact directly in there to create new codes or perform other business tasks. And of course, let's draw our attention to the ribbon, and there you find some interesting actions, right? So we have deploy add-in. But that will deploy basically the add-in that you are currently selected. Then you have also deploy all add-ins that will basically take the Office add-ins and deploy them. And everything happens, in NAV, so you don't really need to do other than basically specifying which mailbox you need to install this add-in on. And the other thing to notice, there are two actions that is related to the manifest file, that is upload and download manifest. Of course, the next question would be, what is a manifest file for the Outlook add-in? So the manifest file is a sort of a metadata definition file for the Outlook add-in, and it's part of the a regular extensibility framework that Outlook provides. So it's not basically, this manifest is not an NAV concept per se, right? We're using the Outlook extensibility framework here. And basically you can define the metadata, the name and description of the add-in in there. And also you can define the endpoints that the add-in integrates with, and also define keywords, regular expressions, and so on. And what happens when you actually install the add-in? Basically, the manifest file will actually get stored in the mailbox for that particular user or for the whole organization. And when the add-in when the Outlook actually starts, it actually parses this manifest file and starts up the add-in, and it also sets up all the endpoints that the add-in interacts with, and also the behavior inside the mail. How does the add-in surface in the mail? Is it a context menu, or is it just a tab, and so on? That is how the deployment and integration with the Outlook works. Then other important thing to remember about the Outlook add-in is that if you are connecting it with the web client, then the connection to the web client needs to be secure with TLS SSL. Also, the supported authentication types. Here we support Azure Active Directory and NAV username password. Basically, for the first sign in, you need to perform that operation on the desktop. The one other thing to actually keep in mind is that there is no magic behind the Outlook add-in as such, right? Besides this manifest file, you have all in CL pages. The way you don't need to learn new programming languages for customizing the add-ins, right? You just take a look at the CL and extend those objects. And that is pretty powerful. So we hope you're going to play around with it and give us feedback, right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I guess that wraps up your final demo today.
Yes, that does. So basically, the message we want to convey with the Outlook add-in is that we have provided this immersive experience, and you don't need to switch between different apps for performing your daily tasks, right?
Yeah, you just perform 3 different tasks involving NAV inside Outlook in different places from Outlook, and without switching.
Yes.
You were always there.
Yes.
in Outlook. It was amazing.
And I can
So-
say this is my coolest feature. So Eigo
Yeah.
has wizards, and Andrea is in love with notifications, but
And you have
Outlook
the Office
add-in is
add-in.
my favorite. Yes.
So how do we conclude?
So I think we should talk about what's next, right? The next item is what's next, right?
Yeah, we have a big disclaimer here, actually, right?
Yes, because we normally don't talk so much about what comes into our future versions, and this is more just some thoughts, right, that we have. So in NAV 2016, we have begun our journey of transforming the web client into a first-class desktop experience client. And what we want to assure you is that we are committed to continuing this journey, because our goal is that we want to provide a great user experience for both simple and advanced users. So in the future, we will experience a desktop client that is simple for new users and powerful for advanced proficient users when needed, right? And if we look, for example, in NAV 2016, we have introduced a couple of shortcuts, and we have also invested a lot in productivity for users that operate with large data sets. And in NAV 2017, we have focused also a lot on simplicity. We have introduced a couple of shortcuts that I mentioned, like F5, Control F5, Escape, and so on. But looking ahead, we see that we need to invest also in productivity for proficient users, right? Like introducing keyboard shortcuts for proficient users, for navigation in lists, copy-paste. All of these are features that we see it as missing and coming, right? And also, the other important part is about personalization. With regards to personalization, it's not only that we think about, okay, what can it be done in Windows client and transfer that to our HTML clients or web client, right? It's mainly, we actually want to bring the experience to a whole new level. Basically, integrate modern experience with the process of customizing what the user actually sees. So, we want, for example, to introduce like drag and drop and show height together combined, right? So I drag and drop different fields, and there you go, my UI is customized and saved, right? All of this, we want to customization with the tip of your finger. This is how we would like to have a personalization coming, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, and that is, we got kind of through all the items in our agenda, so I think we're done.
Yeah, I have to say that the Outlook interaction was so easy to do. It was even faster than we thought.
Yes.
So here we have plenty of time for your questions now. So, yep. Yeah.
Where's the box?
Where is the box?
Oh.
Sorry? Can you see that? We should have a microphone coming.
Oh yeah, she's coming.
Okay.
Where is the question?
Here.
Over there.
Okay. Thank you. I love this thing. So here we go. Catch it. Just speak inside it.
Just pick.
Sure.
Yes. That's cool.
Right. One of the downsides I found from at least 2016 still in the web client is that you're not able to resize a column in a list view. Has that been improved already? Or will
No,
it be
we
improved?
haven't gotten to that into this release, to the resizing of the column. Yes.
So it's not done, but it will be. Or
I mean, it is top of mind for us, but of course there are no guarantees, right?
Okay. Right.
But we know it's missing. We know we have received a lot of feedback about that. Yes.
Next one. Okay. You can throw that.
Oh no.
I want the cube. There we go.
The other question that I have is for notifications.
Yeah.
Could you just forward the notification to different users?
What do you mean? Like,
For example, a sales guy is making an order. He found that the item is running short of inventory. And he thinks, okay, I want to send this notification to my warehouse guy so that he could procure the goods.
Yeah, so at the moment, the notification will you will see that you can set a property in the notification, which is called scope. You can set it to 2 values at the moment, local and global. At the moment, we do not support global notifications. We only support local notification or contextual notifications. So they will appear only on the page where the user is actually working on. So if you send a notification from the customer page, it will be shown there. And at the moment, that's how the API, those are the possibilities that the API is giving to you. Later, we can evaluate more improvements. But at the moment, it's pretty young API, powerful, but more features will come next for sure.
Okay, thanks.
Why was the decision made to put the images into a system table and not have hyperlinks or something like that?
Right, so if you're using the image field, we still use the blob, but if you use the media field, that's where we do the system table. So we have 2 fields. We are keeping the image field now. We still have that. We didn't take that away, but we have a new field called media. So once you store or you upload image into it, and that's where everything happens. We generate the thumbnails, and then we store into the system table.
You might have all those images somewhere else in existence that you could reuse rather than generate them in the database.
Oh, yes, basically supporting links, like being able to specify a link where the image could be downloaded. Yeah, we had that in mind, but we haven't reached to that functionality. Right.
That could swell the database quite a lot, couldn't it, if you had lots of...
Yes, but normally also it comes to with different downsides, you know, like where is the image stored, what's the security involved, and all of this. So we had it in mind, but we just didn't get to, you know, complete the story, right?
I think we also had authentication problems with that.
No.
As well.
Yep.
Okay. I guess over there.
Okay. Will the Windows client become a legacy client in the near future? Because all the great... Sorry, okay.
Can I bring my PMs?
Will the other clients just be greater?
I think I'll bring a t-shirt.
Because all the new features you showed us, like the brick, for instance, it's the first feature that is not in the Windows client. And this is this a tipping point, or is this some sign?
So, yes, I mean, it's not that basically we will be investing in the web client, right? I mean, if we look at Dynamics 365 for financials, right, we are actually improving the web client, and you have web client primarily there. We will also make sure that some of the features, you know, like related, like notifications, for example, some of the CL API, right, will actually work across all platforms. But in terms of all these, you know, modern experiences, we will probably focus more on the web client. That is for sure, right?
Okay, great.
Thank you. There are a couple of hands over there, or over there as well.
Yeah.
Throw it.
Oh, I don't know if you should try. What if it breaks?
Wow. We are very good at throwing this thing.
Another question about image or media uploading. Because it generates these thumbnails on the fly, I assume that it's not possible to upload this on a SQL level. It has to be done through the NAV code.
You are saying about the sizes of the thumbnails? Like, could you repeat the question again?
Well, normally you have a blob field, and the blob field is stored as a SQL image field, so you can upload the stuff or clear the stuff into it using some SQL functionality. With media, you said that there is extra data generated when you upload it, like thumbnailing and generating many images which will be selected by the system on request. And because of that, I assume that there will be no possibility to manipulate, load the data on a SQL level anymore.
Right, but media is actually a blob at the end because we just store in different places. It's a media table at the end. Right?
It is a blob, but it doesn't store the data as you load it. It has something extra added to it on the load process. Because I'm loading the image, and you said the system generates thumbnails, and these thumbnails are selected, many thumbnails, and then proper image is selected on depending on what device is displaying the data.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay. And the question is about having access to those.
Yeah, so it's only through NAV, so I can't really do any SQL access to manipulate, upload them, or do some en masse action on
So
those.
I think the point is that we also, so these images, right, these image sizes are also driven from the devices and the web client itself, right? So they are actually predefined sizes. So actually, if you would even have this option of changing the thumbnail, you know the platform still will decide based on device from the based on the form factor of the device which sizes to actually load. So I'm not sure how useful that would be for you to actually generate the thumbnails yourself, right? Unless you want to provide some completely different, thumbnail. But I mean, we can talk about it later. If you want to reach us, please do so.
Okay. Very good, Box. I have a question about notification.
Yeah.
Can I just somehow convert the notification to the error within life cycle of notification?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Can I just convert the notification to the error within life cycle of notification?
So you send a notification and you want it to be converted into an error?
Yeah, in some stage of usage.
Well, what you can do is you can send a notification, and when at a certain point you think it's not necessary anymore, you can recall it, so the notification will be removed, and you can then trigger a validation or an error. Yeah, that's what you can do.
Thanks.
No problem. Next. Okay.
I have a question regarding the tooltips. So they, in my experience, they are very seldom used because it's hard to manage them. Maybe you have 5 fields that would get all the same tooltip, and it's very hard to help them synchronize. So have you ever thought about changing it from a property to something else?
Well, so we didn't get into that at the moment, and I don't think we have a story for working at that level. The point is that at the moment, what you can do, yes, you can specify different taxes on different fields, and if you believe it, you are making the information redundant. Maybe you can restructure the page in a different way, but I don't think we will invest so much in our next release, maybe changing this story. What we were focusing in this release was to change the way these tooltips behave at a client level. So we didn't go deep into the architecture. But let's talk about it. So let's see what scenarios you have in mind and what type of usefulness we can get out of it. So, yes.
Okay.
There are some over there. Oh, you will need a good throw.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I have seen that you have implemented something like email editor inside NAV when sending an email quote or something like that.
Yes, that is a CL page.
Did you consider, at least for future versions, implementing HTML editor also, or?
So no, but I mean theoretically for the HTML editors you can also build an extensibility control, right?
Yeah, that's the situation at the moment.
Yes.
Okay. Can you edit the text in this editor at the moment?
Sorry?
Can we edit the body section at the moment?
You mean the email editor?
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Behind you.
Hi. In the reports, are they used the thumbnails of the pictures, or you can use it print optimized, so that you run a report with 10 or 100 etiquettes with the picture, that you can use it directly on the printer, that they print optimize the pictures.
No, I don't think we have a specific size for using media in the reports. I believe we are reusing the size we used with brick type. So it would be not too big, but it would be big enough to be able to see.
So they're only thumbnails you see, so a screen optimized.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have two questions. The first one is regarding the tooltips. As we have known before, the brick view is not available for the Windows client, but I've checked the tooltip new functionality is also not available for the Windows client. It's still a hover functionality there. Will this be available for the Windows client?
So we decided to improve the tooltips in our HTML clients. For the Windows client, we need to see. With our new offering for financials, we really wanted users to have a much better first-time experience with NAV. So that was our main focus, and that's the reason why we really improved them in the HTML clients. For the Windows client, let's see how much feedback we collect, how much this is needed, and we can talk about that.
Okay. And will you fix the Windows help as well? Because in your presentation you showed up that if you press F1 and the Windows help goes on and the web help, and I think that in the last two versions, 2.16 and 2.17, it didn't really work really good. That's the right
client
help in the Windows client.
Sorry, in the
Windows client. That the correct help page opens and the user really gets help.
You mean the contextual help?
Yeah, the contextual help, yeah.
Okay.
But
so
anyway.
I think one strategy that we have gotten from our actually UA team is that when we look in future, we see a lot more help available in tooltips rather than have this contextual page where you just open one page and you see everything about all the fields, right? So we're moving away to this strategy. So I am not sure how much we'll actually invest into this into the Windows client.
Okay. My other question is regarding notification. You told us that you can recall notification if it's not anymore of use. If you have a look at the sales document and the sales order, and if you create a line with, let's say, 10,000 pieces, you get a notification that they're not on inventory. If you remove the quantity to 1 again, then the notification will stay. So are you going to improve that logic yourself?
So as we moved a lot of our logic from using dialogues to notification, it's possible that we miss something. So yes, we will improve that.
Because I don't think that's any recall at the moment, because it's the same for the credit limit check.
Okay. Yeah,
so maybe a tip. For
feedback taken.
Thanks. Okay, next one.
Okay. One last question.
Oh, that was a long one. Cool.
Hi there. I actually have a question for both notifications and tooltips.
Okay.
Or maybe a suggestion. Could we hope at some point to have a crossbreed of the both of them? Like being able to add a bit of code into the tooltips rather than at the top of the window?
It's a formatting, like a markup question related, right? So you would like to display some code in the
about the web,
tooltip?
yes.
Yeah. So again, you should be aware of the fact that tooltips should provide kind of an immediate help and a description. They were not really designed to display very complex content. For that, you can probably move that to the help pages, so that the user can reach that from the Learn More action. But do not overload tooltips with too much information or too long text. They are meant to be first glance help, just a very fast guidance for the user. If more is needed, then you can move that to the help page.
So it's going to stay
So I don't think we're going to invest too much on that.
Okay, thank you.
And the other one? You had two questions?
No.
Okay.
It was, because I was like moving the code from notification into a tooltip or vice versa.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if we
I
actually have time.
think we're out. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.